Welcome, listener, to our channel of storytelling and audiobooks. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's delve into a tale of suspense and mystery, where every shadow hides a secret and every word leads you deeper into the unknown. Sit back, relax, and let the story begin. The Whispering House. The rain fell in heavy sheets, drumming relentlessly on the roof of the old Bentley as it wound its way through the narrow, winding roads of the countryside. The night was black, darker than any ink, with only the occasional flash of lightning to briefly illuminate the way ahead. In the back seat, Marian Whitlock sat nervously, her hands clenched tightly in her lap, her eyes darting to every shadow that passed by the windows. She had made this journey many times before, but tonight, something felt different. Almost there. "Ma'am," said the driver, his voice barely audible over the roar of the storm. Marian nodded, though she wasn't sure he could see her in the dark. Her thoughts were consumed by the letter she had received that morning. A letter written in the shaky hand of her late husband, Arthur. The letter had been dated exactly 1 year ago, the day of his mysterious death. Yet, it had only just arrived, the envelope bearing no postmark, no sign of where it had come from. The words in the letter were simple, yet they filled her with dread. "Come to the house. The truth awaits." The house in question was Whitlock Manor, a sprawling, decrepit estate that had belonged to the Whitlock family for generations. It stood isolated on the edge of a vast moor, miles from the nearest town. The manor had seen better days, and now it loomed like a dark, forgotten relic of the past, shrouded in mystery and fear. As the car approached the gates of the manor, Marian's breath caught in her throat. The gates creaked open as if on their own, and the car rolled up the long, gravel drive towards the house. The trees that lined the drive were ancient and twisted, their bare branches reaching out like skeletal fingers in the night. Finally, the car came to a stop before the front entrance, and Marian hesitated before stepping out. The house seemed to stare back at her, its tall windows like eyes, watching her every move. The driver hurried to open her door, offering an umbrella, but Marian shook her head. She stepped out into the rain, feeling the cold drops soak through her coat almost instantly. There was no turning back now. The front door of the manor was massive, made of dark, weathered wood. It groaned in protest as Marian pushed it open and stepped inside. The interior was as she remembered it, grand yet decayed, with faded wallpaper and dusty chandeliers. The air was thick with the scent of damp wood and something else. Something she couldn't quite place. "Hello?" she called out, her voice echoing through the empty halls. Only silence answered her. She knew the house was supposed to be deserted. Since Arthur's death, the servants had all left, and the house had been locked up, abandoned to the elements. But tonight, something felt different. There was an energy in the air, a sense of anticipation. Marian's footsteps echoed eerily as she walked deeper into the house, past rooms that had once been filled with life and laughter, now silent and cold. She could almost hear the whispers of the past, the memories that lingered in every corner. As she reached the grand staircase, she paused. The letter had been clear. Come to the house. But where in the house was she meant to go? And what truth was she supposed to find? A sudden noise broke the silence. A faint, rhythmic tapping coming from upstairs. Marian's heart raced as she gripped the banister and slowly ascended the stairs, her eyes wide with fear. The tapping grew louder as she climbed, each step bringing her closer to the source. At the top of the stairs, the noise was louder still, coming from the end of the long corridor. She followed it, her hand trailing along the wall for support. The corridor seemed to stretch on forever, the shadows growing deeper with each step. Finally, she reached the door at the very end, the master bedroom, where Arthur had died. She hesitated, her hand trembling as she reached for the doorknob. The tapping had stopped, replaced by an oppressive silence. Summoning every ounce of courage, Marian pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was as she remembered it, untouched since Arthur's death. The bed was neatly made, the curtains drawn tight against the storm outside. But something was different. On the floor, in the center of the room, was a small, wooden box. Marian's breath hitched as she approached the box. It was old, with intricate carvings on the lid, and it seemed out of place in the otherwise empty room. With trembling hands, she knelt beside it and lifted the lid. Inside was a stack of letters, tied together with a faded ribbon. The top letter bore her name in Arthur's familiar handwriting. She picked it up and unfolded it, her heart pounding in her chest. The letter began simply, "My dearest Marian." As she read, her eyes widened in shock. The letter revealed secrets she had never imagined, a truth so dark and twisted that it made her blood run cold. Arthur had been involved in something sinister, something that had ultimately led to his death. He had tried to protect her from it, but in doing so, he had only brought more danger to their door. The final line of the letter sent a chill down her spine. "I was not alone in the house that night." At that moment, the temperature in the room seemed to drop, and Marian felt a presence behind her. Slowly, she turned around. Standing in the doorway was a figure, shrouded in darkness, its face obscured. The figure took a step forward, and Marian felt her heart seize with terror. "Who are you?" she whispered, backing away. The figure remained silent, but Marian could feel its eyes on her, watching, waiting. Without thinking, she grabbed the box and the letters and fled the room, her heart pounding in her ears. She raced down the stairs, the figure's presence lingering behind her like a shadow. She burst out of the front door and into the rain, not stopping until she reached the car. The driver, startled by her sudden appearance, quickly opened the door for her, and she collapsed into the backseat. "Drive," she gasped, clutching the box to her chest. "Just drive." As the car sped away from the manor, Marian looked back at the house one last time. In the distance, she could see the figure standing in the doorway, watching her leave. A shiver ran down her spine. Whatever truth the house held, it was not meant for the living. The car disappeared into the night, leaving Whitelock Manor shrouded in darkness once more, its secrets buried deep within its walls. But Marian knew that the mystery was far from over. The truth had been awakened, and it would not rest until it was revealed. Thank you for joining us on this suspenseful journey. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more tales of mystery and intrigue. Until next time, sleep well, if you can.